Hey there, Internet. How's it going?
Wow.
I'm Matt Ufford, joined with my good pal, Susanna Collins.
Hey.
We're here to walk you through a little Super Bowl pregame action.
We are.
Because you know what? I think we're in like hour 7 of the NFL Network saying things loudly and people wearing suits, but you haven't had enough people just chilling back and drinking some brews, hanging out in normal clothes. Just like your friends would. We're like your internet friends that happen to talk to you through a screen. Exactly. Susanna, how you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah?
Yeah. Feeling good. Excited for the big game.
The big game.
The big game. There is a game happening.
Have they trademarked
today.
the big game as well?
I don't know.
It's going to be the large match. I always enjoy the large match every year. Of course, we've got the Denver Broncos versus the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
I think you've heard of these teams before.
A little bit.
They've come up sometime in the last 2 weeks.
Couple weeks. Yeah, heard something.
As we're talking right now, people and wealthy people who've been able to afford $2,000 tickets, and also fans with the terrible idea of wasting their precious income to get into the big game, are entering in the stadium right now with their clear plastic bags.
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts? You know what? Hold on a second.
Yep.
I'm going to back things up. We've spent the last 2 weeks talking about the game. You were on my podcast. We talked a little bit about it. I know that you have your show Semi-Elite.
Yeah.
You talked about the great thing about this game is that the Patriots aren't in it. I had my show Offsides. I previewed the game. But has anybody really talked about this game with a mouthful of delicious goldfish yet?
I don't know if they have, Matt.
So, Susanna, who do you pick to win this game?
So here's the thing. I want this game to be close, but I feel like there's a really good chance that the Panthers kind of run away with this thing.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit scared for that.
Well, I think you gotta have a little faith in the Broncos. Defensive coordinator Wade Phillips has had 2 weeks to prepare something. He totally blindsided the Patriots with the 4-man rush 2 weeks ago, and I think that he's got something cooked up special for the Panthers today.
They're going to have to score some defensive touchdowns today if they're going to keep pace with that Panthers offense.
Yeah, the Panthers have really
Takeaways.
won the turnover battle all year long. The Broncos, if they want to have a chance to win it, they're going to have to do it.
There have to be some takeaways.
True. One thing, I think the Panthers are going to win, but it's my hope that Peyton Manning goes out a champion and says, I did lots of HGH. That's what I want to see.
Zing. That's good. I'm with you.
I think that was a good segment. Maybe we'll revisit the goldfish later on.
My favorite segment I've done all year.
I think anytime that we have to talk seriously about the game, we have to have a mouthful of goldfish.
We should do it with, I like that idea.
Just like your jerk friends on the couch. So in a couple minutes, we're going to have SB Nation's NFL editor, Ryan Van Bibber, on the phone.
We've got some phone-ins today. Some experts.
He's going to talk to us. We're also going to talk to our Broncos blogger from
Montgomery.
Mile High Report is the blog. And also our Panthers blog, Cat Scratch Fever. Wow. It's my favorite one to say. We're also going to talk to a betting expert.
Some prop bet discussion.
Not an SB Nation employee, just
he's
just our guy.
But I like that was his title too.
He's just our guy. I was like,
he's our betting expert.
Is this SB Nation's betting consultant? He's like, no, it's just my guy.
Just my guy.
Our producer Adam is from Queens.
He is. This guy's from Philly though, apparently. So.
I mean, it's all pretty much the same place.
Isn't it?
If you take a couple steps back and kind of squint, they start looking really similar.
Yeah, sound the same too.
So yeah, I think that we've already covered the fact that this is a game that the Panthers, even though it's only a 4-point line,
is that what it is now?
It went up to 6 and back down to 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for a while it was 6 and then it was kind of fluctuating.
I think basically everybody got bored of taking the Panthers by a lot, and they're like, actually, maybe the Broncos are going to do it.
Got this. Yeah.
We have now on the line talking to us via telephone. A new modern way to talk to people. Ryan Van Bibber, who is SB Nation's NFL editor. Ryan, how's it going?
He's real good.
Oh yeah.
I'm good. I'm here. I'm well. I'm ready to do this thing.
Ryan, just go ahead and start us off with how you think the game is going to go.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. A lot of stuff's going to happen.
So crazy, guys.
And like when it's over, it's like, whoa, holy crap! I can't believe that just happened. But yeah, no, I think it'll be a good game. I mean, these are two pretty exciting teams. Or it could be another Denver Broncos Super Bowl blowout.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, no, nobody wants to see that.
I really hope not.
Sequels are never as good as the originals anyway.
No.
So in order for the Broncos to keep it close, Ryan, what do you think that they need to do? What do you think they've prepared for the Panthers?
I think the thing to watch for this is the defense, Denver's defense. If they can really kind of, we've heard all week them talk about shutting down the run game. And with the Panthers, that's, more than just sort of the between the guards type run game. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty diverse run game that kind of centers around Cam Newton, obviously. So, they've got their work cut out for them. But if you see signs of that early on, that's probably a good sign that Denver's defense can kind of hang there and give the offense a chance to kind of run the ball through Kubiak with that option-heavy system. Or rather, the West Coast thing that Kubiak runs.
Yeah, totally. No, Ryan, offensively, for Denver, what do you think we're gonna see today? We saw Peyton Manning connect with Owen Daniels a few times against New England. Do you think he could be a factor again today? How are they going to get things going? Because they've been a little stagnant. This season.
Yeah, and if they can keep the rush off, the thing that's really interesting with Peyton Manning now is the thing he's doing really well that he hasn't always had to do in the past because of the way he can play. But now he's getting the ball out really fast. He's locked onto his first guy right away. He knows where that guy's going to be, and he's worked the seam and those in routes and stuff like the short and the middle part of the field really well with those quick passes, and that's staved off a lot of pressure to sort of keep him upright, which is obviously going to be the key for the Broncos today. So if Peyton Manning can throw the ball well, and he has been throwing fairly accurately, if his receivers can kind of hang on to it, we saw some pretty bad drops in the last couple playoff games that the Broncos played. So. If they do the basics, I think they'll be in good shape if they can kind of control the clock and keep the Panthers' offense off the field.
What about the Broncos' running game? It's obviously they're supposed to be a run-first team. They haven't really succeeded at that very well. And, of course, the Panthers have a fantastic defensive line and two very, very fast and skilled talented linebackers in Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. Yeah. What kind of looks can we see from the running game with the Broncos that might mix that up a little bit?
Well, this is going to be interesting because Kubiak is really on that. I called it the option a minute ago, but I meant the play action stuff. And so they run a lot, and he likes to run with Peyton under. So he likes to run with his quarterback under center. But Peyton, as you well know, has been a shotgun quarterback his entire career. So
he likes to survey the field.
Yeah, exactly. And there's sort of that, there's that sort of philosophical divide you saw at the beginning of the season when it was so pronounced, and now, they've kind of merged it a little bit better. So if they can kind of hold that DNA together, I think they'll be okay with the run game early on.
All right. Ryan Van Bibber, SB Nation's NFL editor. Before we let you go, can you please give us your prediction for a final score? Because that way, if you happen to get it right, it's like winning the lottery. You can say, I predicted it here.
Yeah, let's see. I would say Carolina 35 and Denver 28.
Okay.
That's scientific prediction.
Okay.
4 touchdowns from the Broncos.
I know.
I think the Broncos would be happy with 4 touchdowns too.
Absolutely.
Hey, you know what? Thank you so much for your time, Ryan. Enjoy the game, and we'll talk to you offline sometime.
Thanks, Ryan.
That sounds great.
Ryan, so nice of him to join us.
I know.
Let's talk about the Broncos. We'll talk about the Broncos first, and then a little later in the show, we'll talk about the Panthers. We've obviously talked about their offensive struggles. They were 25th by DVOA in offense this year.
Yeah.
Basically, this is the worst offense to make a Super Bowl since 1989. That's as far back as the DVOA efficiency stats go. And it's also been determined that Peyton Manning has had the worst season of any Super Bowl starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So you got that going for you, Trent Dilfer. However, I would say that after throwing 17 interceptions this season in only 9 games, he hasn't turned the ball. Well, he hasn't thrown an interception in the Broncos' 2 playoff games, and I think that's been key to their success.
Yeah. Well, and then he had not thrown. How many touchdowns passes has he thrown this year? Only 9 or 10.
Yeah, only 9 or 10.
And then before the New England game, he had only thrown 1 touchdown pass at home. Now, obviously, they're not home this game, but He connected with Owen Daniels, as I said, twice. So, and it sounded, Gary Kubiak had said earlier this week that Peyton Manning looked like he had been throwing the ball better than he had all season. So, I mean, you can't count him out. He's Peyton Manning, for God's sake. Jeez.
He is. You would
Guy's
expect.
he's got some experience.
The reason that he's on the field instead of Brock Osweiler is because he has those years of experience. He can still recognize coverages, what the defense is about to throw, and change the play, find something more advantageous, even if he doesn't have the arm strength and physical ability that he used to.
Yep.
It was just 2 years ago he threw 55 touchdown passes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really crazy.
Yeah. And now they have to reassemble him every time he gets out of bed.
He falls apart.
It's like Mr. Potato Head. Poor guy.
Aw.
Whatever.
Kind of even looks like Mr. Potato Head a little bit. That was good.
We will now be joined by Kyle Montgomery of our fantastic Broncos blog, Mile High Report. Kyle, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. How are you guys doing?
We're great.
Doing great. Thanks so much for joining us today. How are you feeling going into the game?
Well, Broncos country has been a bundle of nerves for the last 24 hours. Broncos fans have it hard. We won those 2 Super Bowls, but we've also lost more Super Bowls by more points than anyone. So I've felt like a peaceful confidence for the last 2 weeks, getting ready for this game. Like Peyton Manning and this Broncos defense is going to be very, very difficult to beat. But now as the game is approaching, I'm flying off the walls. I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. I think a lot of Broncos country is with me. Couldn't sleep much last night. We're ready for this game and hopefully to come away with a 3rd Super Bowl for Broncos country.
So this is the Broncos' 8th Super Bowl. That's tied for most in the NFL with the New England Patriots. We won't talk about those 5 L's. We'll focus on the 2 wins. But I will say, so as a Broncos fan, you want to enter the game kind of optimistic. What do you think a winning game from the Broncos looks like?
It looks like the winning formula they've employed since Peyton Manning returned, which is Peyton Manning assumes that game manager role. I know that's kind of a naughty word in the NFL landscape, but it's working for the Broncos. This offense with Peyton Manning, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, they're undefeated. So that's what the Broncos need to do. They need to take care of the football on offense and let their defense deliver them a championship, which I really think they can do. They've done it against Tom Brady twice this season. They've beaten Ben Roethlisberger. They've beaten Aaron Rodgers, completely destroyed Aaron Rodgers earlier in the year. This team has gone up against some really great offenses, and the defense has carried them to victory. So I think that's the formula for a Super Bowl win for the Broncos.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to disagree with you there. And I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, Wade Phillips has had 2 minutes to prepare, or 2 minutes, 2 weeks to prepare.
2 minutes.
2 minutes would not be enough time to prepare. But he's had 2 weeks to prepare, and Wade Phillips has been an undervalued asset, or at least under-recognized asset on a national scale. What do you think are the looks that we're going to see from the Broncos to help neutralize the Panthers' offense?
I think we're going to see versatility from Von Miller. He's a pass rush specialist, but he's also very good in coverage. He showed with an interception in the playoffs. I think DeMarcus Ware will be able to rush the passer and kind of be one-dimensional that way. They'll mix in Shaq Barrett. They just have such a deep outside linebacker pass rushing group that they can let DeMarcus Ware rush the passer and let Von Miller do what he needs to do. But you're right that this offense from the Panthers is a little bit different than anything the Broncos have seen before. They have read option looks. They're a better running football team than a lot of the offenses they faced. It's going to prevent DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller from rushing the passer as much as they were able to against Tom Brady. So it's going to be very interesting how Wade Phillips prepares for that. My guess, like I said, Von Miller is a little bit more versatile this week, and then the other guys are able to rush Cam Newton like they normally would.
All right. Kyle, I'm going to let you go so you can focus on doing whatever is part of your pregame prep. But before you go, hit us with your prediction for a final score.
I've got a final score of Broncos 23, Panthers 17. It's pretty consistent with the scores the Broncos have had this postseason. The Broncos are able to put the Panthers away with a big play on defense and win that 3rd Super Bowl trophy.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you joining us. If you've enjoyed the last couple minutes with Kyle, please check out the excellent Broncos blog on SB Nation, Mile High Report. Kyle Montgomery, thanks.
Thanks, Kyle.
All right. So you and I were just on a plane flight back from San Francisco.
Yes,
yesterday.
indeed we were. Mm-hmm.
Yesterday. We spent the week out in San Francisco, and let's talk a couple minutes about the weirdness of the San Francisco Super Bowl that is about to take place in Santa Clara.
Well, the biggest thing is obviously that it's not in San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's 45 miles away, and it takes a long, long time to get there. So it was just kind of, I think that there was a divide. Like some people were staying in Santa Clara, closer to the stadium, but everything else was taking place in San Francisco. So it was just kind of there was a divide there.
Yeah, I think that we can safely say that like San Francisco is a better cultural hub on every single front, except for sports stadiums, football stadiums in Santa Clara.
Yeah.
And so anybody who is spending more than just the night before the game and the night after the game in Santa Clara has probably wasted hundreds of dollars in hotel fares.
Absolutely.
San Francisco was, it's one of my favorite cities in the country.
It's a beautiful city. It's wonderful.
It's gorgeous,
The
beautiful.
food is fantastic.
Food's amazing.
We ate very well.
Like beautiful, like hilltop buildings, golden California sun. Wonderful town, wonderful place to spend a week. But the NFL is not the best mesh for it.
No, didn't seem to, and it didn't seem like the people that actually lived in San Francisco wanted anything to do with the festivities.
No, I don't
Most
think
of the
so.
people that I know that live in San Francisco were pretty much staying the hell away.
Well, if they were smart, they got all the way out and then Airbnb'd their apartments.
Made some cash.
Had some good money to be made.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do next time the Super Bowl's in New York.
I know. I should have done that in New York.
Yeah.
Man.
That would have been just make some bank. Anyway, not like anybody stayed in Brooklyn for that. Anyway, but back to San Francisco. A weird and very interesting cultural city. The NFL and culture don't really go together.
They're working on it.
They just power washed everything, pushed the homeless to the side,
people outside.
put up a bunch of
there's
security
nothing to see
gates,
here.
and charged $15 for Bud Lights.
That's fine.
You know, like you might as well just have the Super Bowl in Jacksonville.
Well,
Or Houston next year.
just wait.
Yeah.
Houston next year, maybe
Anyway,
the year after. Here we go.
But on the San Francisco versus Santa Clara front, we did spend one of our days having kind of an amazing race type sort of thing.
Not the amazing.
Not the amazing race. No,
Nope.
that's a different thing.
It's a totally different thing.
But you traveled from San Francisco to Santa Clara by boat.
By boat?
Boats. Plural.
Several boats.
I attempted it by bicycle. Didn't get all the way there.
Impressive.
And then Spencer Hall, our editorial director, drove a McLaren.
A very bright, blinding green McLaren.
beautiful.
It was very cool.
And then Seth Rosenthal, one of our writers, traveled via public transit. We put it all together. We all raced and put it together in a great video that you can see on our channel. Here's a little taste of it.
We're here in San Francisco for Super Bowl 50.
But the Super Bowl's not in San Francisco.
It's 45 miles away in Santa Clara.
Which is
I am going by boat, baby.
Oh, you get to ride a cable car. Nobody else gets to ride a cable car.
I'm gonna get there under the power of my own legs.
I have no interest in being fair, so I'm going to be taking this, which is a McLaren 570S. It's very fast. Bye.
That is just a little taste of it. If you want to watch the full video, please do go to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/SBNation.
that was really fun.
Yeah.
It was
I thought that by the way, the people from Parley Bicycles are the ones
your
that
bike was super sweet.
It was so light, great on the street. It was super expensive, and I was like, man, this is amazing.
Don't
and then
mess that thing
And
up.
then I saw Spencer in the McLaren, and I was like,
like,
no, he might have gotten the better end of this deal.
I got to drink champagne
That's-
on a boat.
You also got the better end of that deal.
So that was I was pretty cool with that.
I had
That
zero
worked out well for
champagne
me.
on zero boats during my time in San Francisco. But yeah, that was totally fun. And if you want to check out youtube.com/SBNation or like our Facebook page, you're going to see a ton more videos of the week that we just spent in San Francisco. Now that we're back in the frozen hellscape of New York City, from our very comfortable studio, beer-filled and
Goldfish filled.
What can we talk about our sales team and how that they blew this sponsorship opportunity?
Heck, I know. Look at this.
We're just eating goldfish for free.
For free.
It should be, man, Jim Bankoff, I hope you're watching and firing sales reps left and right. Oh,
That's not a nice thing to say on Super Bowl Sunday, man. Don't ruin your day.
We'll save it for tomorrow. So coming up, we're going to be talking about the Carolina Panthers. I should have finished that bite. I should have. I did not.
You know what? Get like caught in the back.
Yeah,
of
you
your
get the
teeth a
molars
little?
and then you're like working out the molars.
There we go.
Yeah, I didn't really account for how long. Also, branded
Now we're good.
opportunities. This is I'm turning the label away. Yours is a little bit more.
Well,
San
mine's
Francisco.
appropriate. Yeah,
Yours
that's why
is a San Francisco theme.
It is.
Anyway, now that we're away from the beers, we're going to talk to a Carolina Panthers diehard fan, my favorite Panthers fan from Australia, James Sator of Cat Scratch Reader.
Scratch.
Oh, we don't have him. Oh, well,
that's coming up.
That was coming up.
Don't worry, James will be here to talk Cat
I misheard the
Scratch.
person in my ear.
It's live. Are we live? Are we doing this live?
No, this is just practice.
Okay, cool. That's
It's
what
a
I
reason.
thought.
There's a reason we're having it 2 hours before the Super Bowl. We're counting on people that just have this on in the background while they make guacamole.
Right. Well, I mean, let's talk. We can talk about the Panthers too.
I was going to talk about guacamole, but
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Wherever you want to pivot this conversation, I'm game, man.
yeah, you want to go
We
guacamole?
can talk guac.
What's your guacamole recipe?
It's pretty simple.
Yeah?
I keep it real simple.
Real simple.
I mean, obviously, like a little avocado. I like a little jalapeno in there.
I like some heat.
I love the heat. Lime juice is absolutely essential.
Yeah.
Some salt, and then I de-seed the tomatoes.
De-seed?
Yeah, de-seed them. Take the seeds out and chop
Oh,
them up
de-seed
real
them.
fine. Yeah.
Sad, because you don't want them juicing up your avocado too
exactly.
much.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we'll continue with the guacamole conversation.
You're welcome.
Now we have James Sator, famed Australian Carolina Panthers fan. James, how are you?
I am good. Thank you for that introduction.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm a professional, James. I do this for a living. I only screwed it up just 2 minutes ago, but now I've got it on point. James, how are you feeling that the Panthers are heavy favorites in this game? Does that make you worried at all?
Let's just say that I think my heart has migrated from my stomach to up in my throat somewhere, so I guess that means I'm ready for the game. But seriously, the thing with the Panthers, though, is in the past we've always seen them kind of struggle when the spotlight's been on them. The old joke has always been that they look great during the regular season, but put them on Monday Night Football and they get terrible. So it's a little nerve-wracking to have them in this position. They're a team that I'm not used to having a lot of the spotlight on them, so it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust.
Yeah, I will say someone who has not really shied away from the spotlight this year has been one Cam Newton. Seems to be embracing it. Obviously, he just had an amazing MVP season. Seems like he's pretty excited, but are you concerned at all about the Denver defense? It seems to be they were the number one defense by DVOA this season and offer, I would say, more talent at more positions than any other defense in the NFL. What concerns do you have about that defense?
The thing that Cam Newton's struggled with kind of his entire career is pressure up the middle from the defensive tackle positions and also blitzing linebackers. So with someone like Von Miller there, that's certainly terrifying if he can kind of get inside and break through the Panthers' offensive guards. Cam likes it when he's got edge rushers coming around the outside because he's fairly confident that he can outrun them. But if he gets flushed outside from interior pressure, that's when you can tell he gets a little bit rattled. And that's the big risk that I see. And certainly I think Denver is going to put more pressure on Cam Newton today than anybody has this season. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
And, of course, it helps when your quarterback is bigger than many of the defensive ends rushing after him.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Panthers' offense and how they're going to counter against this talented Broncos defense. Talk a little bit, if you would, please tell me a little bit about the Panthers' rushing attack and why it's so much better than everyone else in the league.
I think the big thing about it is the Panthers run the read option almost 100% of the time on rushing downs. They know that works, and Jonathan Stewart and Cam Newton have an innate understanding of each other in those exchanges, and they seem to almost operate as one. And I know that sounds cheesy, and I kind of cringing saying that myself, but they use that to really throw off defenses. And Cam is given a lot of freedom to do what he wants, both at the line of scrimmage and after the snap. He's allowed to improvise a lot, and they've really turned over a lot of this offense to him. And when you've got a north-south back like Jonathan Stewart and the two of them being able to get downhill quickly, that ability offset with the read option can really freeze linebackers, and that's why we saw it work so well, particularly this season.
Okay, very good. And my last question for you, James, would be, are you concerned at all? We've seen Aqib Talib against other offenses match up against premier tight ends. He's got the size to be able to do that. If he follows Greg Olsen around the formation, and given the lack of depth at wide receiver, are you concerned at all about 3rd and longs or passing situations because the Broncos have such a good secondary?
Absolutely. When the Panthers have succeeded this year and won big, it's because teams either couldn't cover Greg Olsen or for some reason just thought that they could cover the outsides and let him do his thing. If Olsen is taken out of the game by someone like Talib and it suddenly becomes everything relying on Ted Ginn and Corey Brown, it could be a pretty long day, especially if that rush attack can't get into its stride the way we're used to seeing. So that is the big threat. I think for Denver to win, they have to take Olsen out of the game. And for Carolina to win, they need to both control Peyton Manning and be able to get Olsen involved as much as they possibly can.
All right. Thanks so much, James DeTore. The blog is called Cat Scratch Reader. James, thanks so much. Good luck to your team. And before you go, what's your prediction for the game tonight? Final score.
Okay. Look, I have to pick the Panthers. I think even if my team wasn't involved, I'd say Carolina. This is Cam's year. It's been a very different situation. I think it's going to be a relatively close one. I'm going to say 27-20 Panthers.
All right. I like that. Positive, but not overly confident. James, thanks for joining us. Something that he said. This is Cam Newton's year. And what are your feelings on Cam Newton?
I mean, I like him. I find it really hard not to like Cam. And I know that there are people out there that are kind of sick of his shtick and all that showiness. But I honestly just think that is who he is. I actually think he's a pretty authentic guy.
Yeah.
He is so fun to watch. He's just such a dynamic player. He's this massive guy. He has a rocket arm. He can run the heck out of the ball. And he's just, I mean, I think like all this stuff, like giving the footballs to the kids and stuff, like I like it. I like his dancing. He's having fun out there.
Sure,
that's what it should be.
I will say I love watching him play. I like the zebra pants. I like the loafers. I like the style.
The no socks thing?
The foxtail. I don't go no socks because I don't like the sweaty, sticky feet.
Yeah, but it looks so good on him. He's got nice ankles.
He does. Nobody's arguing about Cam Newton's ankles, Susanna. But I can't help but resent him a little for making dabbing such a huge phenomenon. But did he? I feel like the media did that. I feel like that's they started doing it. It like became a thing, and then I feel like we're partly responsible. He could have stopped at any time. I'm not responsible. I refuse to cover it. But I will say he could have stopped at any time. He's still doing it, and we have now watched Jerry Richardson dab. We've now watched Roger Goodell. Basically every old white man has now dabbed.
If that didn't kill it though, then
no, there's no killing it. The only way to kill it is for Cam Newton to lose.
Can I tell you though, at Media Day, opening night.
Yeah, right.
Opening night.
Sure.
I asked some of the Panthers players. I was like, "Give it to me straight. How do we feel about dabbing?" And I could tell that some of them were a little bit sick of it.
Yeah.
They were like, "Yeah."
No,
and then
cool.
some were like, no, it's like our thing. It's totally our thing now. But there was a resistance there. I felt it. I picked up on it.
Yeah, because they didn't make the decision. And you said Cam's getting everyone in for a team
Reluctant
dab.
dabbers, Nat.
Yeah, no, I can't blame them because they got to be good teammates, but I don't want to dab. Greg Olsen doesn't dab, and I appreciate that about him.
I do appreciate that about
Greg
Olsen.
Because you know what? It's not that I'm so anti-dabbing. It's just that everybody's doing it, and I now appreciate the individualism to say, no, this isn't my thing.
Not going to go there.
So Greg Olsen is my favorite Panther.
He's great.
Panther.
The
Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers are in the Super Bowl.
Another thing that happened while we were out in San Francisco for the last week, our colleague Dan Rubenstein, who, by the way, you and I are like NFL people. We were out there the entire week.
Yep.
Dan came out for 2 days and did twice as much work as both of us combined.
Pretty much.
In half the time.
Yep. Dan just comes in there, gets it done, knocks him out, and he's
and you know what? He has to hustle because it is his goal in life to be a game show host.
He's so good at it.
He would leave us tomorrow to host a game show.
As he should. I would miss him, but I would fully support him.
And his Radio Row game show, Answer the Question, is the only thing redeemable about Radio Row, a place that I hate going to and makes me super depressed because it's a lot of guys in polos and goatees
talking really loudly,
yelling at microphones.
Yes.
And if you thought my anti-dabbing stance was bad,
wow,
man, it's basically takesmas, hot takesmas over on Radio Row. The one good thing is Dan Rubenstein. I think we have clips of him.
We do. I believe we do.
Well, let's hope they run it.
Answer the question.
What is the product silicone? What does it go into?
Boobies. So that is
fake boobs.
So that's silicone. I was looking for computer chips. What city is the Space Needle in?
Oh, space. There's no verification.
It's Omaha, man. It says Omaha. It's a judgment. It's a judgment thing. No,
this whole show is bogus.
No.
This is not legit.
That was just like 15 seconds, and Dan had so many great athletes. There you saw Steve Young and Jerry Rice.
Yep.
I was kicking myself. I didn't go out to Radio Row on Friday. He had Richard Sherman and Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks. I was like, ugh.
I know. Got Tony Romo. J.J. Watt we
J.J.
saw.
Watt,
who was the biggest human being I have ever seen in my entire life. He's not even a human being.
He's part bear.
It was just otherworldly.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
You can find all of our Answer the Question episodes up on SB Nation's YouTube site, youtube.com/SB Nation.
More NFL players thinking that silicon is for fake breasts.
I was thrown off by it. I was like, wait, silicon?
I totally had to think about it.
No,
I was like, wait a second.
But yeah, there were some softballs that were missed. Oh yeah. So yeah, go check them out and see
fun.
what it's
those are really fun.
All funny things happening.
Dan did a great job.
You want to talk some prop bets?
We can talk prop bets.
Because this is a whole thing where no other game has as many prop bets as the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
did you know when it started?
No.
I read this today.
No.
This is interesting. It was the Super Bowl 20, and the Bears were in it, obviously.
I've never heard of them.
With my homerness, but it was about Refrigerator Perry, and if he would score a touchdown. It was like the very first prop bet.
Really?
Yeah, that ever took place.
And now it has gone on. Now it's gone on to the coin toss, over under for the national anthem, and so
anything.
So in order for us to discuss prop bets a little bit more, we've got our guy.
We got our guy.
We got our betting guy. Michael Quinn joins us via telephone. Michael, how's it going?
How's it going, guys? Happy Super Bowl Sunday.
You too.
Thanks. It really, this is sports Christmas, or sports Thanksgiving. We'll go non-denominational.
Yes.
Mike, so we were just talking about prop bets and the history, how they just started Super Bowl 20. What are some of your preferred prop bets for this Super Bowl?
Well, there's tons, as you guys mentioned at the top here. I mean, I think there's some shops have over 400 prop bets, which is just insane. I mean, I don't even know how they come up with some of this stuff, but I've got a couple for you guys. One is Greg Olsen, the tight end for the Panthers. You guys have talked about him earlier in the show. I'm actually going total receiving yards under 69.5. If you look at his 18 games this season, he's only averaged 61.3 yards per game, but he's come on as of late in the playoffs. So I would have expected this to open closer around like 65. But I think a lot of the media coverage has been focused on his impact on the team and him being the safety valve for Newton. So I think that's kind of inflated the number a little bit. As you guys mentioned earlier in the show about Wade Phillips, he's had 2 weeks to prepare. He's an incredible defensive coordinator, a terrible head coach, but a great defensive coordinator. So I don't think he's going to be letting Olsen run free down the middle of the field at all. So I'm going to go under 69.5 total yards receiving for Greg Olsen.
Okay.
But, a lot of the talk, guys, has obviously been about Cam Newton and Peyton Manning over the last 2 weeks, but I want to talk about the real superstars, the punters.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can't get enough of Britton Colquitt.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I've got one for you on Britton Colquitt for sure. His longest punt going to be under 52.5 yards.
Really?
When you're looking at kicking props, you want to examine three factors. One being the weather, two being the player himself, and 3 being the stadium and how balls carry in that particular stadium. So the weather today is going to be really beautiful out in Santa Clara. It's going to be about 70 degrees at kickoff. Obviously, it's going to be about a 3:30 p.m. Local time kick. And there's going to be very little wind. So I don't think the weather's going to have a huge impact on our decision-making on this prop. But when you look at Colquitt directly, now obviously he plays in Denver, so he's got an advantage when he's kicking a mile high, which has been for 10 games this season. He's the average of his longest punts was 53.6 yards. But when he's been away from mile high and not in the thin air, in those 8 games, his longest punt average was 50.6.
Oh.
So you've got a little bit of an edge there with the 52.5. Only 3 times on the road this year has he kicked it further than 52.5 yards, and his average across all 18 games has only been 43.6. So I think you have a little bit of an edge there. And then when you're looking at the stadium itself, you can look at the 49ers punter, Bradley Pinion, and he's only averaged 43.6 yards per punt this season as well. So I don't think there's anything specific about Levi Stadium that's going to stand out when you're talking about how the ball's going to travel.
This is incredible.
I know.
Can we stop the
I
show
know,
right
right? Can
now
we
so
go?
I can
I
play
know.
some bets immediately?
I feel like I'm getting like really good inside info.
Mike, that's amazing. Tell me, there's obviously a lot more frivolous bets. I know that like Gatorade color, Beyonce shoes. Do you put this same sort of studying into the more frivolous bets as well?
Well, if you're going to put your money anywhere, you probably should. I'll be honest with you, with the Gatorade color, I mean, it's not something I'm personally betting because I think it's just goofy, and people have all sorts of crazy stuff, like with the Lady Gaga national anthem. I mean, people go back and review video of when she was like 15 years old and did the national anthem at some like softball game or something, and they time it. I mean, it's really crazy how the odds makers come up with these numbers. And then obviously you've got bettors trying to figure out if there's an edge or not. But on the Gatorade color, the favorite is actually the orange being dumped on the winning team's coach at plus 115. I went back and did some film study the other day. The Panthers dumped orange on Ron Rivera when they won the NFC Championship. Oddly enough, though, the Broncos did not dump anything on their coach because the game, if you remember, came down in the last 10 seconds, and there was no dumping of Gatorade, which there's also, well, needless to say, there's a prop bet on that as well. No Gatorade or liquid bath is a plus 1,300. I think that's a little short. I mean, in the Super Bowl, there's always someone getting dumped on.
Yeah.
There's always something going on there, even when games have been decided on last-second field goals. So I would imagine that would be probably closer to plus 5,000 if you were going to bet that. So I don't really think there's any value there. But orange is the favorite at plus 115. But you got all sorts of choices: blue, green, purple, red, yellow. I mean, it runs the rainbow.
I like the idea of you watching tape.
Yeah, getting tape.
Like analyzing the dumping.
Going back through, you're searching YouTube for Gatorade bats.
That's so great.
Oh, yeah, just fast forward right to the end of the game and see
that. Thanks so much for joining us, Mike. That was incredibly enlightening.
Super insightful.
I would say through almost 40 minutes of showtime, that was the most worthwhile couple of minutes.
Absolutely.
Not to downplay anybody else's input, but certainly more than we've had to say.
100%.
Well, it doesn't mean anything unless they cash, so hopefully they do for everybody.
All right. Well, thanks, Mike.
Enjoy the game.
Have a good one.
Take care.
That was amazing.
That was really crazy.
Wow. That's breaking down punts.
He's our guy.
Yeah.
He's our betting guy.
Braden Colquitt under 52.5 for longest punt.
Man.
What are some of the prop bets that you liked?
I love the Beyonce one.
Yeah,
Beyonce's shoes. The color of her shoes when she comes out for the halftime show. I think it's gonna be gold. Because of the whole Super Bowl thing has been gold. It's like the whole theme. 49ers in San Francisco.
I saw my favorite one that I got hooked on was Sheil Kapadia of ESPN pointed out that Steph Curry was even money on what Panthers jersey he's going to wear.
Okay.
It was even money for custom. 2-1 Cam Newton, 3-1 any other player, and then there's also you could bet on no jersey.
Okay.
And twice recently he's worn his custom number 30 Curry jersey, including the NFC Championship game when they beat the Cardinals. And any good fan isn't going to change up the juju.
No.
So get that money on the even money Steph Curry on the personalized custom jersey.
Wise words, Matt Offord.
That's I just stole it from an ESPN reporter, but
you can take it.
But you know what? I'm yeah, Sheil's fault for publishing that 13 days ago. I read it today
That's right.
and spouted it.
And guess what? Here it is.
I'm taking
Just
that credit.
Here, live.
Oh man, wow.
Peyton Manning. So this could be. What do you think? Do you think this is going to be his?
Of course it
Manning's
is.
last game?
It's driving me insane that everyone's speculating that this could be Peyton Manning's final game. He told Belichick, "Hey, this is my last rodeo." Eli Manning says like, I think that it might be.
He got real emotional in the meeting yesterday.
He's told his close, his confidants that he's retiring. Like, let's just go ahead and stop it. Here, I'm gonna say, I will stake my reputation on Peyton Manning retiring. No, I'm not. I don't have a reputation to stake, so it's okay. But let's just go ahead and face up. Like, hey, this is Peyton Manning's last game. Let's just say it.
Right.
Like, he's gonna announce his retirement after the game. Let's stop pretending that's not the case.
I know that storyline's been a bit exhausting.
Peyton Manning's gonna retire. That's how it is.
Okay, so let's say he loses. Let's say the Broncos lose today. He would then be 1-3 in Super Bowls.
Sure.
How does that affect his legacy overall? Does it even affect it?
It doesn't change. Like
No.
he threw for 49 touchdowns at the age of 28. Almost a decade later, he broke his own record with 50, or smashed the record again with 55 touchdowns. After coming back from neck surgery, after getting cast away by the Colts,
fusion surgery,
an all-time great quarterback, and it's not really his fault that the Colts never felt the need to invest anything on their defenses. He took that team as far as they could go many times. His second Super Bowl in 3 years at the end of his career. Obviously, the defense has a lot more to do with it this year.
Yeah.
But the defense didn't get him there 2 years ago against the Seahawks. And also, I think I can never stress this enough. The effort that it takes, the greatness of the team. Just to get to a Super Bowl, like it should be more of a highlight just to make a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge credit to an entire team, to a coach, to a quarterback. It's a very, very long road to get to a Super Bowl, and just making the big game is a big deal in and of itself. Getting to 4 Super Bowls as a quarterback, he's headed to the Hall of Fame. Period.
So would you like to see him ride off into the sunset, John Elway style?
I would. I absolutely would. As much as Cam Newton's a ton of fun, it's very much been the Panthers have owned the NFL this season, and have been a ton of fun to watch. They would be certainly worthy champions, but I would for my own sake, I kind of want to see the old guy. I said it with a mouthful of goldfish earlier. I want to see Peyton Manning win. Maybe he's not going to get the MVP trophy if the Broncos win, but just be like, oh, thanks, this is great one. And then a week later be like, oh yeah, by the way, I did HGH. I did. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Not gonna be in the Hall of Fame? I think that'd be great.
It would be great.
Because HGH, cortisone, there's so many things that are, whatever, this is a whole bag of worms that I don't feel like talking about.
Yeah.
We can talk about the moral relativism of steroids another time, another live show.
Don't you get the sense too that the Broncos I just feel like there's there's always sort of certain X factors in a Super Bowl, things can just little tiny difference makers, and you get the sense that every single player on that team wants to win the Super Bowl for Peyton. I mean, obviously for themselves too, but they want to send him out that way.
2 years ago, when the Seahawks beat the Broncos so handily. Going into the game, everyone's like, it's going to be super close. The best defense versus best offense.
Yeah.
And what happened was the best defense ran away with the game. This one, people are leaning. There's a lot of people that are like, the Panthers have too much. They're going to run away with this. I think we might see the fact that these are two great defenses, regardless of the offenses on the field. They're going to be able to keep them in check a little bit. I'd love to see a close game. I think the Panthers are going to have a little bit too much. 24-13, 24-16, something like that.
I think 16. In my head, for some reason, I have 6. The Broncos are going to put up 16 points.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of what I'm sticking with. So I'm going to say 27-16.
All right.
Panthers.
That's so. Our unoriginal picks.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's go ahead and there's our thumbnail for the show. I'd just like to say thanks very much to our NFL editor, Ryan Van Bibber.
Yeah.
Thanks to Kyle Montgomery of Mile High Report and James Sator of Cat Scratch Reader. and our guy, Michael
Our
Quinn,
guy.
who's not he's not affiliated with SB Nation anyway. He's just our guy.
Just helping us out. He's
He's,
our guy, okay?
He knows some things. He looks
he's our
into
boy.
things and tells you what to do. And thank you, dear viewers, for joining us and hanging out while you were making
Go make some
guacamole. I like some red onion. Garlic is essential.
Yeah.
I'm also pro cilantro.
Ooh.
You're not a cilantro? Is it soapy to you?
It is. I have
I'm so sorry.
It overpowers everything for me. I know.
Such a shame. It's so good. Anyway, I think that's our show. Enjoy the big game and be sure to check out a website called SB Nation.
It's real fun.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of good content
It is.
on there.
It is. SBNation.com. Also on your Facebooks and Twitters and various social media. That's the show.
That's the show.
Bye, folks.
Enjoy the game.